Hello Collective and welcome to the channel. So today we'll be doing a little framework session on it's the crescent moon in Virgo. So we just shifted out of the new moon in Leo. And as the moon has it's transitioning to the next sign, which is of course is Virgo. It's waxing, so it's gaining in momentum. It's like a little momentum is starting to build. Okay, so in the new moon in Leo, we learned that we're taking this opportunity to essentially break down our true happiness, the things that we deem as as important, right, to our heart's desires, breaking all of that down to its true basic building blocks of what we want for our lives, like what we want to see manifested in our world, especially when it involves relationships with other people, our wish fulfillment that we seek in relationships, because it was of course showing up as the 10 of Cups. So we're successfully breaking it all down into the basic building blocks, and now the process of moving into the full moon, eventually the full moon, which will be the full moon in Pisces. Yes, Pisces. The full moon of Pisces. We're building it back. We're rebuilding from where we once came. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else that wants to be said about that? No, I think it's good. So of course, as always, the energy, if you hear a little crinkle toy, it's my kitty's. She's just got a new toy and she's loving it. It's a crazy looking chicken. I wish I could show you. But if I take it away from her, she's gonna hate me. So anyways, all right. So let's see. What energy is the this is beautiful. The Strength card. The Leo, that Leo moon, new moon. It's the so if you feel like you haven't yet broken everything down into the basic building blocks of what you deem to be it's like if you could make your yes list for everything, what's on that yes list, and if you feel like you haven't yet really found that out, there's still time for that. And that's what this Strength card is coming through with. We're still in the energy of that Leo new moon, and of course time is relative. So some of us go through things a little sooner than others, and then some are, we're in the same collective. We're all marching, along into infinity. So don't feel like you missed your chance. That's what this is talking about. It's like that Strength card was saying, don't feel like you've missed your chance. You haven't missed your chance. You're doing perfectly fine. All right, so oh my goodness, another the scales. It's talking about use the tools at your disposal to create what you want to happen. So what's basically being said here is that you have all the tools to you have all the answers inside of you. And so use those tools to manifest. So you can still manifest on that new moon in Leo. Okay, so let's see how that waning crescent in Virgo, actually, it's in Virgo. So with it being in Virgo, there's kind of a sense that, we've broken everything down into its basic elements, right? And each single brick that we're building for this new foundation of ours, it's almost like a new heart's foundation. So it's kind of talking about building a new hearth, your heart center. Virgo, the energy of Virgo is one of analysis. So looking at each of those bricks and making sure it's coming through as making sure they're up to code, making sure they're up to date. Like, does the energy of this brick match what I'm going to be laying down into my new, yeah, it's coming through as like a new sense of self. A new, yeah, a new sense of self. Okay. All right, so let's look at the bottom of the deck, the underlining energy for this waxing crescent moon in Virgo. We have, all right, okay, the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords. So this Knight of Swords is talking about the supportive element to this moon is information. It's information that's coming to us. It's coming very quickly. It can be talking about perhaps maybe receiving some type of idea or enlightenment, some type of information that is going to make it very clear as to which bricks to include in your new foundation of your heart's center and which ones not to. It's almost like this is essentially it's like receiving the blueprint of what you're building, for your I was going to say for your next life. That's interesting. So it's very much like there was a past before this new moon in Leo, and now as we're going into the future, here's the blueprints, right? So make sure you have all the building materials. This is what it's referring to. All right, so let's see how that blueprint is going to transition us into essentially what we will be seeing, right, in our environment, because the underlining energy is typically something that that's what it is. It's typically something that we can't see. It's something that it has a smaller, although it's kind of like a big message in a small package. Does that make sense? So it's not necessarily something that we can see readily, but if we ask for it, if you ask to receive the blueprint, you will receive it. Okay, so on the bridge, what's going to be carrying us into this next phase is the Six of Cups. This is gorgeous. What's carrying us into this new phase is it's a familiar energy. It's a familiar. Of course, that word has many different definitions, and it's like I'm seeing, like, not tangents, but it's like I'm seeing that there are different like avenues to take, but there's one of them that is very familiar. It has a sense of nostalgia to it. It has a sense of like, it's coming through as like a budding connection because they're both young, right? So it's got a lot of youthfulness to it. So the energy of almost like of playing, you know, of course we have the new moon in Leo, and Leo typically it's the energy of play. So this information for you might come through in an unexpected way, and it might come through in a way where you think that you're just playing, but what's actually coming in is this blueprint. And you know, while you might be fixated on whatever is happening right in front of you, you see it's like it's coming up behind, so it might not be noticed, right? But it's like you can rely on your connection with those that are familiar to you. Like they look very similar to you, almost like twins. You can rely on those connections. It's like maybe someone that's familiar to you might point, it's like they might point it out. That's interesting. Because that Ten of Cups in the new moon in Leo reading, it involves other people. It involves your relationships. So it's almost like there's a familiar relationship, maybe one that has stood the test of time, that's going to point out to you the energy of that blueprint. That's really interesting. And of course, with the Six of Cups, that could be easily be talking about someone that you grew up with, or it could be someone that you have a lot of past life connection with. So take that as you will. So let's see, what is this waxing crescent in Virgo? What's the overall energy of it? What's the overall energy of it? That was very quick. It's very quick. Okay, so the overall energy is a Four of Swords. And this is coming through as that analysis. Oftentimes it's like we can't see what we're wanting in front of us unless we remove ourselves from the things that are familiar, to find a sense of solitude, Virgo, Hermit, to find a sense of solitude. And what's particularly important here is quiet time. Because a message like this, with it, so very strange. My camera keeps cutting out every time I do these readings. I think the energy is just so big that it kind of just blows everything. Anyways, so what I was referring to is that, you know, an energy that is quiet, it's in the underlying energy, it might not be readily picked up unless this solitude, quiet space, like a meditation, is gone into, the words that are coming out is willingness, willingly. You have to be willing. That's what this is. It's like you have to be willing to sit in quiet solitude, perhaps maybe in even a meditation, and ask. It's like, this is very interesting. Ask for what belongs to you. Ask for what belongs to you. And just sit. Just sit in the energy, and the answers are going to come. Okay? All right. Happy crescent moon in Virgo, and I shall see you next time. Bye.